Hi guys, it's Ariana. Welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I got my cheesies, I got my homemade iced tea, and I'm ready to swatch some palettes. So I've recently been watching a lot of videos. Oh my god, stay. I've been recently watching a lot of videos of people swatching their collection, them doing it either all at once or them doing it color by color, and I thought it was a really fun idea and I really liked the concept of it. So I did this blue eyelid a couple hours ago, and I decided, well, if my theme of the day is already blue makeup, let's swatch on my blue eyeshadow. So I'm going to credit Butte Bean because I don't know who the creator of swatching all of your collection, like who created this video tag idea, but Butte Bean is where I found it, and I've been really enjoying her channel and her videos, so thank you so much for giving me the inspiration to do this. And this arm is covered in tattoos, so we're gonna have to use this arm, so I hope you guys can see it well enough. I'm very sunburned, so let's just see how well this works. But I have all of my palettes that have blues in it laid out in front of me. I have a bunch laying on the floor in front of me also that don't have any blues in it. So we are just going to swatch all of my blues. We're gonna see if we have any dupes. We're gonna see if there's anything that I can get rid of in my collection, because I have an entire drawer full of eyeshadow palettes that I really need to go through and get rid of, because the vast majority of these palettes I do not use. So we may be doing some shop my stash videos in the future, because there's a lot here that I do not use, because as you guys know, I do have a BoxyCharm subscription and we get a palette almost every single month, and it's a lot. So we're gonna start off with one of my favorite brands for eyeshadow. This is Ace Beauty. So I have 3 of their palettes. Well, I actually have 4 of their palettes, but one of them doesn't have any blues in it whatsoever. So I'm gonna start off with my very favorite palette. So this is the Oceanic palette. So this entire palette is blues and greens. So this is the perfect palette to start this swatch party on. So I think I'm gonna actually take off my watch so that it doesn't get covered in blue eyeshadow. We're just gonna put that to the side. Oh, also, if you guys like this style of curly hair, I did this using my sister's bubble wand, and that video should already be up. So if you're interested in watching me curl my hair and review an Amazon favorites curling wand, then go watch that video. It will be linked in the eye. So we're gonna start off using this palette. So this palette is one of my absolute favorite palettes. It has all of these gorgeous blues and greens, and you guys know I've done a couple looks on my channel using this palette, and I am obsessed with this formula. So good. So we're gonna start off swatching the color. We're gonna go from this way up. So we're gonna start off by swatching, I already got some on my hand. Jeez is Christ. All right, so we're gonna start off by swatching the color Pacific, which is this one right here. And we're gonna start right here. So that is Pacific. It's this really gorgeous kind of teal blue. It looks a lot darker in the pan than it actually is. Let's see, hold on. I just brought you guys in a little bit closer because I wanted to make sure that we were in frame and focus. So this is Pacific. It is a lot darker in the pan than it is on my wrist, but I definitely think it looks really gorgeous. It's a really pretty color. It has like a teal blue shift to it, and it's really pretty. The next one is Blue Clam. So it looks like that. And it is just a really gorgeous blue eyeshadow. I haven't used this one a whole lot, and I really should, because it is absolutely so gorgeous. I think I'm gonna skip the teal, the greeny ones in this, and I'll save that for when I do the greens. We're gonna move on to Bora Bora, which is this really gorgeous shimmer shade. So it is really pretty. I really like that. That reflect that it has is absolutely so stunning. Then we're on to another really pretty shimmer. So this is the shade Bay. This one isn't actually swatching the best. They're not actually swatching too great, the shimmers, but the shimmers actually do work really well when using a setting spray with them. So we're gonna go on to the color Marina. That one is super gorgeous. I love that color. That color is a really gorgeous topper. It is such a deep blue, but it has this really gorgeous shimmer to it. We're gonna skip the tealy ones and we're gonna move on to Bali. So Bali is this really pretty, almost kind of, I guess, periwinkle almost color. It's really so gorgeous. And that is right there. It's almost like a sky blue color. I like it. And the last one in the Ace Beauty Oceanic palette is Lagoon. So this really pretty deep color. Oh my god, I love that. So the Ace Beauty Oceanic palette doesn't swatch the best, but it is one of the best blue-green eyeshadow palettes that I own. So don't take the swatches for face value because they're not the best, but I am only running my finger through them like once, so you could definitely build the swatches up to look really gorgeous. But that being said, this is still one of my absolute favorite palettes ever. So now we're going to move on to the Ace Beauty Vintage Dawn palette. So it looks like this. I have not used this palette very often. I think I've only done one look with it. And I really should use it because there is quite a few really gorgeous shades and colors in here that I should really start using. So we're going to go on to the two blues. So there is Sky and Dew. The Dew is almost like a white color, but it is still in the blue family. So we're going to start off by swatching Dew. It's really pretty. So that one is super metallic and super pretty. I really like the reflect that it has. It would be such a good topper. I like it. I really should start using it. And we're going to move on to Sky. So Sky is right here. So it is very similar to the last one that we did in the Oceanic palette. So that one was Lagoon and Sky are very similar. If this one swatches a little bit better than the Oceanic palette, but they are very similar in shades. So if you liked that one color from the Oceanic palette and you already have the Vintage Dawn palette, you pretty much already have it. So there you go. So that was the only blue that was in this palette. And the next one is the Ace Beauty Flare palette. So there is these three gorgeous blues right here. So I'm curious to see how Bayberry is going to swatch in comparison to Dew because they are very similar. So let's go Bayberry first and let's swatch it just above Dew to see. So they are a little bit different in tone, but they are very similar. This one is more of a teal than this one. This one is more of a silver. This one actually has more of a blue shade to it than this one, but they are very, very pretty and they look really, really gorgeous and they're very, very pretty shimmers. So we're gonna move on to Atlantis. So that one is really pretty. Like I said, these shades don't swatch the best, but they're not the worst. It is really, really pretty. It's a teal blue and I like it. And the last one is Forest Pine. I can almost get away with swatching this one in the greens when I do the greens, but it is in the blue family still, so I'm going to swatch it. So it is a very, very deep kind of greeny blue color and it's really pretty. I think it's absolutely gorgeous and I really want to get use out of it because I don't think I've even used these ones. I haven't used Forest Pine, Moss, or Sherbet, which is really odd because those are the colors that I gravitated to the most when I was actually purchasing this palette. So why I haven't used it, I have no idea. So that is all of my Ace Beauty palettes that have the blues in it. So I'm going to wipe my hand off because my hand is covered in blue. So I only have one Morphe palette here that has blues in it. I believe none of my other Morphe palettes have any blue tones in it besides the Jaclyn Hill Vault. So let me find that one. Because the Vault, I'll put those two together, has a blue. So these are two collaborations from Morphe. We're going to start off with the Jaclyn Hill Morphe Vault collection. So this one is Dark Magic. I actually hate these palettes. They are such gorgeous colors, but I got the duds. I got the bad version of whatever that was going on with these palettes and they work horribly. So I haven't really used them. I wish I could get more use out of them because they are such gorgeous colors, but they really don't work well. So it's kind of a bummer. But I haven't mustered up the nerve to declutter any of my eyeshadows yet, so that is why I still have the Vault collection. But once I do declutter it, I probably will be getting rid of it because it just doesn't work that well. I probably won't even give it away to a friend because I don't want to give them the burden of dealing with these shadows that are so incredibly hard to use. So I'll probably throw those out eventually. So we're gonna do the only blue that's in this palette. So it is the color Busted. It's right here. And I don't think I've ever actually used it. So even on my finger, I ran it through about 2 or 3 times. It's not that great. So here is the swatch of it. It doesn't swatch very well, and when using it on the eye, it works very similar to the swatch. It doesn't work very well. So I really wish these palettes had worked out a little bit better for Jaclyn, but they didn't for me, so it's a bummer. So the next palette that has some blues in it is the Morphe James palette. So it has all of these pretty blues right here, and we're going to swatch them. So I'm going to start off with the first one. So I don't have the sheet anymore that tells me the names of them, so I don't actually know their names. So I'm just going to start off on this side of the palette and work over. So we're going to start off by using the blue, the light blue. It's a light blue shimmer, and I've used it quite a bit, so I like it. It's really pretty. It's really shimmery. I'm actually going to swatch it right next to my other blue shimmers just so you can see. Now this swatches absolutely amazingly. I love how this Morphe James Charles palette works. It's one of my absolute favorite palettes ever, and I highly recommend it. If you don't already have it in your collection, you need it because it is so good. So we're gonna move on to the next blue. I don't remember their names, I'm sorry guys. This one is so pretty, I love it. I'm just gonna get all of the blues on my fingers and we can swatch them all one at a time. So here is all of the blues from the palette besides the one blue that I've already swatched. So we're gonna go here, 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 and here. So they swatch a lot better than Ace Beauty in my opinion. These swatch really, really well. They're really, really pretty. I'm obsessed with this blue color. I think I used it quite a bit about 2 years ago around Christmas time. I was doing 25 looks around Christmas time and I used it so much and I was obsessed with this palette. I still am. I still really like it. I haven't used it as much as I used to use it. I used to use it all the time. It was like every single look that I did, I was using this palette, but I kind of toned down a little bit, but there is some shades in here that I actually haven't used yet. So I really need to pick this up and start using it again because it is so gorgeous. As you can tell just from the swatches, so amazing. I love the formula. It works so well. We're gonna move these to the side and we can start doing, I'm gonna do my newest palette that I got. So I am wearing this palette on my eyes right now. This is one of my favorite brands ever. This is Melt Cosmetics. If you're unfamiliar with this palette, this is what the palette looks like. It is such a gorgeous palette and I am so in love with it. So I'm gonna start, I'm gonna put the Melt palette here. So this is Angelito. It's this really gorgeous teal kind of shimmer color. We're gonna put it right here. I could almost get away with putting this in the greens because this is kind of a green tone. It is a really, really gorgeous teal kind of shimmer. It is super pretty. I already have it on my eyes today and I love it. We're gonna move on to the second teal, which is Lagrimeas. I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong, but look how these swatch. They even swatch super amazingly, like so obsessed. This one is Dulo. So this one doesn't swatch that well. I may build this one up a little bit. Probably because it is a deeper, darker color, but it worked really well on my eyes. But it is kind of patchy. It is kind of a patchy swatch. And actually on my eyes today, I noticed that it was kind of patchy. So maybe that's just the shadow. I don't know. The next color that's in it is a gray, so I'm not gonna swatch that. I'm gonna swatch the Noche Eterna, which is this really pretty royal blue color. This one doesn't swatch that well either. They kind of start off really good and fade out into kind of disappearing a little bit, but whatever. And this is Katrina, another really pretty shimmer. So their shimmers are so amazing. These two colors work the best in my opinion and they swatch the best in my opinion. I had a little bit of trouble with this one today, but it still worked out really well. I got an eye look that worked out really, really well and I am still absolutely in love with Melt Cosmetics. I have the Gemini palette, which is like a green and brown kind of toned palette, and I'm obsessed with it. I really, really like Melt Cosmetics. They make the most gorgeous palettes ever. So we're gonna move on to some of the palettes that I got from BoxyCharm. So this is from the brand Butter London. I haven't really used this palette a whole lot because I found it really boring and I'm not really into these neutral kind of earthy tones. I don't really get that much use out of them considering I always do really, really colorful looks. So I find palettes that are more on the neutral side just kind of boring and I'm not really into them. So it is what it is. But this one is the color Femme Fatale. So let's swatch it. So it looks like that, and we'll put it right here. So it's not the best swatch ever. It kind of is really, really patchy, but I didn't like this palette, so that's probably why it just wasn't that great of a palette. So the swatch makes sense that it's not that great. The next one is the brand Pure. I don't like this brand. I hate the fact that they scent their palettes. yeah, all of their palettes smell like vanilla, kind of like really, really artificial smelling, and I don't like them at all. I hate the scent of it. So that's why I really don't gravitate to using Pure, and not to mention, I just don't like their formula. I don't find that their shadows work very well, so I don't really reach for this palette. I probably will declutter it because I don't need it, but it is a really pretty shimmer. Let's put it right here. So it is a really pretty shimmer. I would say that it's kind of an odd shimmer. It kind of goes to from being like a shimmer to like almost like a matte, and it does have the shimmer reflect in it, but it's not as glamorous as I would hope for it being a shimmer. That's the only blue that's in this palette, and thank God, because I cannot stand the scent of it. It smells horrible. So we're gonna start off and start going this way. I tried to avoid this as much as I could because it is all sunburned, but we are running out of room on this side, so maybe I will continue right here for now, but then I will eventually go over here. So the next palette is the Dream Street palette. This is one of my absolute favorite palettes. I loved this palette when I first started using makeup in 2017. I had no idea how to use makeup. I had no idea how to use eyeshadow. I was not a pro. I'm still not a pro, but I had no idea what to do at all with makeup. And this was the very first palette that I purchased after watching Kathleen Light's videos every single freaking day of my life. So, this palette kind of has like a special place in my heart because it's one of the very first palettes that I bought when I was like, you know what, I kind of want to get into makeup. I kind of want to play around with makeup some more. I want to create a YouTube. So that's where this palette comes into my heart. And I probably will never get rid of it just because it's such like a nostalgic feeling to me. And Kathleen Lights has no idea who I am, but she plays a very, very, very big part in my heart for why I started YouTube. So that's kind of cool. So the first color that I'm going to swatch is the color, it's the color Water Bearer, which is this deep dark blue. I'm gonna get a little bit more right there. And the last color is Mermaid Boy, which is this really pretty shimmer. And these blues work so well. They are so pretty. I'm gonna swatch them next to each other. So they are super gorgeous. This one has a little bit of red in it just because of fallout from another shade, but they are super pretty. They are very, very deep tones, but they're gorgeous. I've used them so often. I don't think I've ever actually done a video using this palette. I probably should, but I've never actually done a tutorial using this palette, and this palette has just been a kind of a keepsake for me in my collection that I probably will never get rid of. But those swatches are really pretty. I really like the shimmer color. It is really gorgeous, but it is kind of mixed with a little bit of red right now just because of fallout that was in the palette. So the next palette is actually Kathleen Light's friend. So this is the Alamar Cosmetics palette, and it has two shimmers. So something that I really like about this palette is it folds. I really like the design of this palette. I got this in BoxyCharm 2 years ago, and this palette also has a really, really, really big nostalgic feeling to me because I got this palette right before I went on my vacation with my best friend to Radium, BC, and every time I look at this palette, every time I see this palette, I just get flashbacks of Radium and how much fun we had together, and it's just an awesome palette. I don't use it very often, and there is some shades in it that I actually have never tried, but this palette has just a nostalgic feeling to me, and I love it. So this is Veradero and Celia. So those what those two look like. They're both really, really pretty shimmers. And they are super gorgeous. I don't know why I don't use this palette because it is so pretty and so gorgeous. I really should, but I really just don't reach for it. And another one like the Dream Street palette, I probably will just never get rid of it because it just reminds me of my best friend and I love her. And yeah. So the next palette is a palette that is a definite no, and I'm gonna get rid of it when I do a decolor. We got this in BoxyCharm, and I don't know what the hell BoxyCharm was thinking, giving us a Laura Lee palette. Laura Lee, Los Angeles. This palette is absolutely terrible. I remember everybody being so disappointed when they got this palette. Not to mention Laura Lee was just kind of a controversial topic when we got this palette in BoxyCharm, but it was just a really bad palette. So the two colors that are blue are Karaoke and Damage Control. So they swatch really well. They look like they're gonna be really vibrant and really pretty colors, but when you try to use them on the eye, it's horrible. So here are the two shades, and you can see, I don't know if you can see, I will swatch them again. We are at a weird point in my arm. That. So let's start up here. Can you see? Yes, let's start here. So you can see that these just swatch absolutely terrible. When you saw them on my fingers, they looked like they were gonna be really, really gorgeous, but the swatches are awful, and that's how they work on the eye. They are terrible. These are so incredibly horrible and spotty and just don't blend well together at all, and it was a waste of time. So that's my opinion on that palette, and I will be getting rid of it. So this is the Violet Voss Essentials palette, and this is not an essential in my collection. I think this palette is absolutely stupid and useless, and I actually don't have a blue in this. I don't know why this is here, but as you guys know, I don't like this palette. So we're gonna put that to the side. The next one is the Celestial Thunder palette. So I really like this palette. It works really well. I have really gotten some use out of these two shades. They're really, really pretty. They're a reflect. They have like a dual reflect. This one has an orangey pink color, and this one has I think it's supposed to be like a dark pink. It's like a black to a pink reflect. It's really pretty. So the color is Mystic Ice that we're swatching, and it is super pretty. So I love this teal. This teal looks absolutely gorgeous, and it is really, really pretty on the eye. I definitely need to use this palette a little bit more just because I really haven't used it a whole lot, but I think it is absolutely so stunning. So I probably will get use out of it eventually. So this is the Glam Vice palette. This is the only palette I have by that company. So this palette pissed me off. So when I got this palette in the mail, I got it, there was a whole backstory between me being mad at this company and shipping. So I ordered this palette back in December. I wanted it for a Christmas look, and it didn't arrive until way, way, way after New Year's. So I paid for priority shipping. I paid an extra, like, I don't know how much, $30 or $40 extra, and it came late. So it wasn't the company's fault, it was the shipping company's fault that screwed everything up. But when I was dealing with Glam Vice, they were trying to be as helpful as possible, but at the same time, they just kind of told me like, it's in the shipping hands, like there's nothing they can do, which is fine. But I didn't get this until way after the time that I thought I was going to. If I'm paying for 2-day shipping, I'm expecting it to arrive in 2 days, 3 days, whatever, but it arrived like a week and a half late, and I was really annoyed. And then they didn't refund me my shipping, which was really annoying as well, because I paid so much extra money to get this palette in time for New Year's Eve, because that's what I wanted it for. I wanted to do a Christmas New Year's look, and I didn't get it until way after New Year's. And then when I got this palette, I noticed there was fingerprints in it. So I contacted the company and I said, okay, so I got this palette, I just opened it, and it was sitting in my studio waiting to be played with, and I do things in a, the first time I use them, I do a first impression with you, so I didn't use it right away, and it was probably about a week after I got it. I contacted the company and I said, hey, here's the photos. There is a fingerprint mark here in this shadow, and there was fingerprint marks in this shadow as well. So I contacted them and I said, there's fingerprints in my palette, what do you guys do for that? And they told me that because it had already been a week since it had arrived at my house, there's nothing they could do about it. So they sent me a palette with fucking fingerprints in it, and then wouldn't reimburse me, wouldn't give me any of my money back for paying for the shipping that arrived a week and a half late, and then did nothing about them having fingerprints in their product. So I'm probably never gonna order another palette from them again. I really like their eyeliners because they do have those retro eyeliners that I use, those water activated liners. I really like those. But if I could find them from another company, I probably won't order from Glam Vice again because I was really disappointed with their customer service. So that is the tea on this palette. This palette is really pretty. It has a really, really awesome design. I love the shimmery sparkle. I love the way that this palette feels. It's really heavy. It's set up really, really pretty. It is a really, really nice thought out design, but I was disappointed with the company as a whole. So I don't know if I will ever purchase from them again. But this is the color. It does not tell me. That's another thing that I don't like about these palettes is they don't tell you the names of what you're using. So this is the one blue that's in the palette. It is a teal. So we'll go right here. So it doesn't swatch the best, but it is a really, really pretty teal. I have never done a look on my palette. I've never done a look on my channel using this palette because I was pissed off and I didn't really want to make a video that was going to be super negative, but I will use it in the future. The one shade that I have used, you can see, was that red, because I was really curious how to use a cream eyeshadow, and I'd never used one before, and the look failed. It didn't work out. So I will use this in the future, but I just haven't gotten around to it yet. But that one blue is really, really pretty, and I just kind of have a bad taste in my mouth towards that company in general because of the crappy service I got and the fact that there was a fingerprint in my palette. So the next palettes that I'm going to get into are my BH palettes. I have 4 palettes from BH and I really don't use them very often anymore. They were my staples that I used when I first started my channel and first started YouTube, but I've kind of moved away from using them. I don't know why. They are really, really great. BH has some amazing eyeshadows and they work really well and they're very inexpensive, but I just don't use them. I don't think I've ever done a video on my channel using this palette. This is the Galaxy Chick palette, and it is a baked eyeshadow palette, which I thought was really cool. So I'm gonna swatch the blues. I'm gonna avoid the tealy green ones because I'll do that in a blue video, but we're gonna swatch Electra, Earth, and Pluto. So that's what these ones look like. So Electra and Earth look very, very similar. So I'm curious to see how they're going to swatch. So we're gonna swatch them here. So here is Electra, here is Earth, and here is Pluto. So the shimmers work really, really nicely. They swatch really, really nicely. Pluto is a pretty patchy. It is a pretty patchy swatch, but I'm curious to know how these actually work because I don't remember if I've ever actually used this. I ordered this years ago and I don't think I've ever used it. So I will give this a try in the future. It is really, really fun. It has all of these planets in it and I just think it's really, really cute. So BH Cosmetics is a very inexpensive company and the swatches don't have to be absolutely amazing because they're so cheap. Like, they are so incredibly inexpensive. I have 2 of the Take Me Back to Brazil palettes. This is the Rio edition and this is the Take Me Back to Brazil edition. And this was my all-time favorite palette when I first started my channel. If you guys scroll all the way back to 2018 or 2017 when I started, this was the palette I used religiously. I loved this palette. It is such a fun color story. You guys can see that I've hit pan on a lot of the shadows. I absolutely loved it. It was so great, and that's why I ordered the Rio edition because it's the exact same palette, just shimmers. So this is an entire matte palette. It has 35 colors and I believe it was only $12. So that is one of the reasons that I was obsessed with it because it is so affordable. So I'm gonna swatch all of the blues. So they're not named, they just go in rainbow. So I'm just going to pick them all up on my fingers right now and we will swatch them. The one thing that I really, really like about this palette is it's very, very, very affordable and it works really well. So I have 2 left that are more on the purple side that I will still swatch, but these are the BH shadows so far. So we'll go, I'm gonna start doing them on my hand. No, I'll go here for now. Can you guys see? Maybe we'll go here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So they don't swatch the best. They're not the most pigmented. You do have to build these shadows up quite a bit, but they are so inexpensive and they worked so well for me when I was first starting out with makeup and first starting my channel that I can't fault them. I think they're absolutely so fun, and this palette for a beginner is amazing. So these are the last 2 blues that are in the BH palette, and as you can see, they swatch the same. They are very, very, very patchy, but as you can tell, I hit pan on so many of these shadows, and for a beginner, especially somebody that is younger or just starting out with makeup, so like maybe you have a sibling that is in junior high and wants to play around with makeup, this is a really, really great starter palette for them, especially if they like rainbow. I love this palette. It's one of my favorite palettes and I will definitely recommend it to anybody that is starting out. So we're gonna start going up this way. I hope you guys can still see. So this is the Take Me Back to Brazil Rio edition. So it is the exact same colors again, just shimmers. So we're gonna go, I'm running out of room. Yeah, we'll go right here. So I'm just gonna swatch all of the exact same colors, but the Rio edition. So as you can tell, the shimmers are way better. They swatch amazingly. This blue is one of my absolute favorite blues to use. It is such a pretty topper. It's a really, really gorgeous shimmer. It would look amazing on the lid in a cut crease. Super gorgeous. So if you are into shimmers, this is a really, really good option. Again, it is the same price as the Take Me Back to Brazil. It was only like $14 or $12. Very inexpensive and very, very great for a beginner. The other 2 are kind of on the purpley side. I'm sorry, there's 3. Are kind of on the purpley side. So let's see how they show up. So they are blue, they are in the blue family still, and they are swatching really, really well. I love this blue right here. The last blue in the palette is absolutely so gorgeous, and I highly recommend picking up this palette if you guys like shimmers. I can't talk today. If you guys like shimmers, I highly recommend this palette. It is super great. So the next palette is the Ultimate Matte 42 Color Shadow Palette. So there is only 2 blues in this palette. It looks like this. I've only ever used this palette once, and it was to do a purple look. So I really should get use out of it because there is this really, really pretty mustard yellow here that I want to use and get my hands on because it's super gorgeous. So I'm gonna swatch up here now for these 2 blues. So I really like how big this pan is, these pans are, but holy crap, look at that blue. For a BH shadow, that blue swatched really well. The blue kind of purple lilac color didn't really swatch that well, but that blue, that dark blue, swatched really, really great. Considering this is a 42 eyeshadow palette, and again, super inexpensive. These palettes are only like $15 at the most. They are cruelty-free, and BH is just a really great company. You can't go wrong if you are starting out with makeup to get anything from BH. They are so great. They have such fun eyeshadow palettes, and they just have the best inexpensive palettes to get, especially if you are starting out. Highly recommend them. So we are down to the last little bit of eyeshadows, and we're gonna use my hand because why not? So we are down to my last eyeshadow palettes that have blues in it, and they are all from one company. Can you guys guess what company it is? If you have been watching my channel for a while, do you know which company I freaking love? And I buy almost all of his eyeshadows. Jeffree Star. So we're gonna start off using the Mini Controversy palette. So this is what this palette looks like. It has these 2 blues in it. It has Cancelled and The Simulation. So this is the collaboration with Shane Dawson, and in the big Conspiracy palette, there isn't actually a blue. So I have this one, and I'm so excited for them to bring back the new color. It's not a blue, it's a green. It's called Put It Back. I'm so excited to get my hands on that shade. So this is the color Cancelled and Simulation. So we're gonna put it on my hand. We're gonna start here. So Simulation and Cancelled. So it's Jeffree Star. Jeffree Star's eyeshadows swatch amazingly, they perform amazingly, and I just love them in general. I already know all of these are going to be really, really great and really, really fun. If you're not a Jeffree Star fan, that's perfectly fine. You don't have to be. The Alien palette doesn't have a blue in it. I pulled it out just in case that I was gonna swatch the teal that's in it, but I'm gonna hold off on that teal for when I do my greens. So these 2 colors worked really, really well, and highly recommend it. So unfortunately, you can't get this palette anymore. I believe you may be able to still get it on like Beautylish or Beauty Bay, but I'm not too sure. I know he did discontinue this palette, and it really broke my heart because this is one of the best palettes in my opinion that he's released. I am obsessed with the blues and the yellows that are in this palette. They're so pretty. So I'm gonna swatch Splash, Submerge. There's only 2. I don't know why I was gonna swatch the yellow. So Splash and Submerge, they look like that. They are so pretty. So this is Splash and this is Submerge. They look so gorgeous. They are these really, really pretty, kind of like a pastel color, and they are so gorgeous. I love, love, love these eyeshadows. I've done a look on my channel using, I think it was these 3 shadows, and I loved the look. I loved how it turned out. I really haven't used this palette a whole lot because there is quite a bit of neutrals in it that I'm not a big fan of, but when I saw that he released this back in 2018, I was obsessed with it and I needed to have it, so it's gonna stay in my collection forever. So the next one is the Jawbreaker palette, and you guys know that I have a love-hate relationship with this palette on my channel. When I first originally got this palette, I had trouble using it. I tried to do a palette bingo with it, and palette bingo was not on my side that day, and it did not work out. A lot of the shades that are in it don't work very well. A lot of people complain about the color Wow, and a lot of people complain about the color Sour. I've had trouble with both of those colors, so I can see why people complain about it, but whatever. We're going to swatch 2 of the colors in it. There is Cute and there is Brain Freeze. So Cute is kind of like a bluey green color, and Brain Freeze is this really pretty light sky blue. So Cute and Brain Freeze. I love how they feel when you're dipping into Jeffree Star's palettes. Oh, they're so soft and buttery. So this is Brain Freeze and Cute. So they are super pretty. They're really, really pastel. It is a pastel palette, but they are really, really pretty. I really want to try using the blues in this palette. Oh, there is one more. There is Soaked. I don't know why I was going to forget that. We'll put Soaked here. So they swatch really, really well. They look amazing. They feel amazing. I don't know why I had such a hard time using these shadows when I originally got this palette. I have a whole video up me talking about how much I think this is a dud and it didn't work for me, and then I've used it again and it works fine. So I don't know. There is one more shade in here. It's called Delicious. I don't know if it's going to really show up as a blue, but we're gonna swatch it anyway. Yeah, it did show up as a blue. This one doesn't swatch the best. Let's bring it down. Yeah, as soon as you're getting down to like the wire of the end of it, it kind of tapers off and it's not that great. But a lot of the blues that are very similar in color tend to do that. So that's interesting. I have a few dupes actually in my collection now that I'm looking at my blues. I have quite a bit of the same color, so I'm gonna have to replay this video back when I'm editing it and when I'm watching it just to see what are the real dupes that are in my collection and figure out what I want to keep and what I want to get rid of, because I have a lot of the same frickin' colors. But that's okay. These are all palettes that I really, really like, besides the ones that I mentioned that I probably will already get rid of. Everything else I may probably keep. I'm really bad when it comes to hoarding my eyeshadow. I don't want to get rid of it. So the last palette that I'm going to swatch is obviously Blue Blood. So Blue Blood is a really, really gorgeous palette. There is so many blues in it because it is a blue toned palette. I'm going to use this hand to put the swatches on just because I have run out of room on my arm, and you guys can't really see right here, so I'm not going to bother. I'm running out of room and I'm just going to use this hand. I'm going to swatch Mint Tea. So it looks like that. It is this gorgeous bluey kind of white color. It's so pretty. I'm Cold, which again is very similar to Mint Tea. It's kind of like it almost doesn't show up on my hand. I'm going to swatch it again just to build it up. It is a very similar color, but it does have more of a, it has a little bit of a darker undertone to it, but it's very, very similar in tones to Mint Tea. We're gonna swatch Blue Blood, which is really pretty. We're gonna swatch Deceased, which is so gorgeous. I love that shimmer. That shimmer is so pretty. This one is Ice Tray, which I already knew I liked because I've used it before. It is this gorgeous reflective, just stunning color. Blue Monday, which again I've used in the past, which is again really pretty. It kind of goes on as a matte, but then it changes to like a shimmer, which is really, really interesting. Flourishing, which I could probably get away with putting in the greens because it is kind of like a tealy color, but it is really pretty. And Entitled, which again is kind of a tealy blue color, but look at that reflect. These colors work so goddamn amazing. And the last one is Undertaker, which again, I have so many of that dark blue color on my arm that I'm interested in figuring out what the dupes are. But this one actually swatches a lot better than a lot of the rest of them. I found that a lot of the navy kind of blue colors didn't swatch very well. They kind of tapered off near the end. Like that one was really good for BH, but they really tapered off near the end and they weren't the best. So that's really interesting because you can see it starts off really great and then goes to not so great, whereas this one just kind of stayed really, really great the whole time. There is one last blue in the palette that I will swatch, but I have a feeling the swatch isn't going to be that great because it is a glitter. So it is a glitter that is in the Blue Blood palette, and I'm not expecting this swatch. Wow, never mind. That is probably the best swatch we've had all day, yet I'm sitting here saying it's probably not going to be that great of a swatch. Look at that fucking glitter. Wow, holy crap, Jeffree Star, I need to use that. I've been so scared to use that color because it scared the crap out of me because it looked like it was pressed glitter. No way. No freaking way. I need to use that. So this is one of my absolute favorite palettes for blues, obviously, because it is a straight blue palette with a couple of transition colors in it, but it is really, really stunning and you can tell by the swatches that it works really, really well. I've used it many times on my channel. I've used it many times in my personal life, and I love it. So these are all of my blues. These looks so much fun. I had a really fun time doing this video. I need to figure out a better way to show you guys my swatches as I'm doing them. I'm sorry if you guys couldn't see them as well as I wanted you guys to, but I had a lot of fun doing this. This was a really, really cool idea. So again, thank you so much to Butte Bean. If you guys don't know who she is, go check out her channel. I'll link her down below. I thought this was really fun, and I just had a lot of fun doing this. So I'm gonna figure out what I have in my collection that are dupes, and we'll go from there. I don't know, I may be getting rid of some things. I may be doing declutters in the future just because I don't think I need this many blue eyeshadows, but you never know. I honestly didn't think I had this many blues. I'm interested. I'm gonna continue through this series. So let me know down in the comments below if you guys enjoyed this style of video, if you guys enjoy me doing all of my swatches of all of my palettes, because these videos are obviously for you. They are for me too, because I do want to figure out what I have in my collection, but they are for you guys. I want to know if you guys are entertained by these videos. Let me know in the comments down below if you guys liked this style of video. Let me know if you guys want to see me continue to swatch all of my eyeshadows. Let me know what color you guys want me to do next. I think I want to do green or yellow next, so let me know in the comments down below what color you guys want me to do. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. I hope you guys will give it a big thumbs up. I hope you guys will subscribe, and I will see you guys at the next video. Bye! I have so many blue eyeshadows. Holy crap. Did anybody want to see me removing all of the swatches? Will that be satisfying to you? Because it's going to be satisfying to me. I'm going to have a bath after this. Oh yeah. Goodbye, beautiful blues. It does kind of stain a little bit though. So that's why I'm gonna go have a bath, because I'm really sunburnt. Oh my god. This is disastrous. Oh, I have one already. Oh, good enough for my bath.